Welcome, everyone. This is your friend, the DN What If, here with another exciting fanfiction. Today, we're diving into the story of What If Female Deku Was Katsuki's Twin Sister? If you enjoy this video, don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe for more fanfiction content just like this. Now, let's get started with the fanfic. Chapter 1, Main Info. This is a side project that I wrote a long time ago because I never saw anyone write something like this story, so I said why don't I do the job, so here we are. Also ISCK at description, don't mind me. What if female Izuku was the twin sister of Katsuki Bakubot? But here is the twist. She doesn't want to be a hero. She wants to be a support hero. She always loved building things and machines. Honestly, this story doesn't follow a particular timeline. It's just a fluffy story about Izuku and her crazy creations. If you are interested, you can check it out. So here is some of the background to this. Female Izuku, Deku, is the twin sister of Bakubot Katsuki. The appearance. They don't look alike. Unlike her brother, Izuku has short fluffy green hair that she inherited from her grandpa. Her eyes are red just like Katsuki. She is shorter than him, and they don't have any shared appearance except the eye's color. They have different auras surrounding them. Izuku's aura was more of an angel, but a devil on the inside. I love saying this that this photo was made by me. I used an AI, so mine, and man, she's so appealing. Personality. She never cursed or yelled like her mother and brother. Izuku is pretty chill. She took the calmness from her father, as they both always sit down and drink tea or coffee while discussing other topics when her mother and brother are yelling and cursing at each other. But if anyone hurt Katsuki, she will be said, she will make sure to send them to avenge her brother. While Katsuki will sit down and laugh his butt out as Izuku is dealing with the people who hurt him. Quirk. Izuku have the same quirk as Katsuki, explosions. Their power was on the same level, so when they train it always be a draw. Hobbies. Even though they don't look anything alike, they have the same hobbies and fashion tastes. They both like to wear dark colors clothes. Most of their shirts have a skull on them. Katsuki liked playing the drums, while Izuku liked playing electronic guitar. They always play heavy metal songs and music, which suited Katsuki, but no one thought that the angel Izuku would love too. They didn't keep it a secret, but at the same time they didn't tell anyone about it except their family. They both loved seeing something explode and pulling pranks in their middle school, so they were quite popular there, and if the twins are bored they will want to make something explode, so the school tried to entertain them as much as they could so they won't set anything to explode in the school. One time Izuku and Katsuki were bored, so the twins made their school lab explode for entertainment. The lab was beyond fixing, so the school made a note to never let them bored. Making weapons and machines. She's the one making Katsuki weapons and costumes, and he's the one complaining. The relationship between the twins. They are super close and touchy. They always hug and hold hands in public without feeling shame or embarrassment. People that didn't know that they are twins mistook them for lovers, which made Katsuki quite sad. She calls him Kat while he calls her Izu. Those two names are specially for them alone. No one is allowed to use them except them. If anyone does, he will be met with the Bakugo's twin wrath. Katsuki adore his little sister a lot. He loves her so much that he can't even get mad at her. He never screamed at her or yelled. He just pampers her endlessly. He's so overprotective of her, not allowing any kind of danger to touch her. Not because she's weak, hell no, she's strong, even stronger than him. But he, as the oldest twin who was born a minute before her, took the responsibility for her happiness and safety. His personality changes around her. He became a caring, gentle brother full of love. For her, always smiling gentle and lovingly towards her, patting her head with a gaze filled with love and care. Dreams. Izuku doesn't want to be a hero like her brother. She found being a hero boring. Her passion was building weapons and stuff, and she believed that Katsuki was the most suitable twin for the job. Izuku loved her brother and she didn't want him to be alone in the future, so she wanted to become his exclusive support, technical, building costumes and weapons for him alone. So she decided to go to the support course so she can learn everything possible to help her brother, to make the perfect weapon for him and to his quirk, so he wouldn't get hurt while using his quirk and can get over his limits without hurting himself. She was the one who made the Katsuki's costume to surprise him, making sure to include everything Katsuki liked. So when Bakubot saw his costume when All Might come to let them train, he realized who made it and smiled softly. his sister knew him like the back of her hand. Also, I'm not very sure about including ships. Tell me what you think. Comment. Chapter 2, Chapter 1, Explosive Twins. Bakugo Katsuki slumped at his desk, feeling bored without his twin sister, Izuku, by his side. The class was buzzing with activity, but it all seemed dull to him. Suddenly, a knock on the door caught everyone's attention. Izawa, the tired-looking teacher, grumbled and permitted the visitor to enter. The door swung open, revealing a girl around their age. Her beauty and uniqueness stunned the entire class. She stood confidently, wearing a dark green tank top and a light green jacket around her waist. Short, fluffy green hair framed her face, and she sported goggles on top of her head. Her eyes, a striking crimson red, seemed to captivate everyone. With a polite smile, she greeted Izawa. "Hello, sensei. May I please take someone out for a little bit?" Izawa blinked, realizing that this girl must be from Class 1H, the Hero Support course. Her presence indicated that she needed to discuss a weapon or costume with someone. He nodded sleepily and returned to his nap, leaving her to proceed. Izuku's smile grew wider as she turned her attention to the class. They stared at her with curiosity, taken aback by her presence. With her eyes searching the room, she finally found Katsuki and beamed at him. Katsuki appeared to be asleep, but Izuku knew better. He was a light sleeper. As she approached Katsuki, a pink-skinned girl grabbed her arm and warned, "Hey, I don't know who you are, but you better be careful with Bakugo. If anyone wakes him up from his sleep, he'll blast them." Izuku giggled softly and assured the girl, "It's fine. He wouldn't do that to me." She then walked back to Katsuki, causing the entire class to regard her with sympathy. They anticipated the girl to face Bakugo's explosive wrath. The girl looked at Katsuki a little before a mischievous smile appeared on her face. The girl hit Katsuki's head as she said, "Wake up, sleepyhead. I'm here." Witnessing the scene, Izawa grew increasingly annoyed. He realized he would have to intervene to prevent any potential violence. But to everyone's surprise, when Katsuki stood up and saw who was standing before him, his anger dissipated and his gaze softened. "Izu, why didn't you tell me you were visiting my class? I would have at least prepared a little," Katsuki said, a mix of surprise and joy in his voice. Izuku grinned and replied, "I wanted to make it a surprise. Don't you like it?" "Of course, dumbest." "Anyway, why are you here?" Katsuki asked, his tone filled with genuine curiosity. "Well, I wanted to test some things for you and get your opinion on them. Are you up for it?" Izuku inquired, excitement evident in her voice. "Yeah, I'm coming." Katsuki responded eagerly. The entire class remained frozen, their shock evident on their faces. This girl had just hit Bakugo on the head, yelled at him, and even ordered him around, yet he didn't seem angry in the slightest. The atmosphere in the room was electric with confusion and anticipation. Kaminari couldn't contain his curiosity any longer. "Who the F is this girl?" he blurted out. Izuku turned to face him, her eyes twinkling mischievously. "Hello, nice to meet you, Class 1A. My name is Izuku Bakugo, the twin sister of Katsuki Bakugo. It's a pleasure meeting all of you," she introduced herself, dropping a bombshell on the unsuspecting class. Izuku then started dragging Katsuki out of the classroom happily, and Katsuki didn't even complain. The students' jaws dropped, and silence engulfed the room. The explosive twins had just taken Class 1A by storm, and their lives would never be the same again. Comment. Chapter 3, Chapter 2, Hidden Talents. The initial shock of Izuku's introduction began to dissipate as Class 1A and Izawa regained their composure. Izawa cleared his throat and regained control of the situation. "All right, let's follow them to the support course. In the end, we needed to go there for your costume modifications." As the class proceeded down the hallway, Bakugo and Izuku walked side by side, their bond evident to everyone around them. Bakugo's friends, Kirishima, Siro, Kaminari, and Mina, were particularly intrigued by the presence of Izuku, eager to witness the dynamic between the explosive siblings. The support course was abuzz with activity as students and teachers worked diligently on various projects. As the Class 1A students entered, Eyes turned to the explosive twins, curious to see what they would bring to the table. Izuku, with her calm demeanor, surveyed the surroundings, taking in the sights and sounds of the bustling support department. She couldn't help but feel a surge of excitement, knowing that she could utilize her technical skills to assist her brother. Meanwhile, Bakugo's friends were unable to contain their curiosity any longer. Kirishima, with a wide grin, asked Bakugo, "Hey man, your sister seems pretty amazing. How come you never mentioned her before?" Bakugo sighed, his annoyance palpable. "She's not the type to flaunt herself around. Plus, you idiots would have only annoyed her. Also, why the F are you here?" Kirishima chuckled and nudged Bakugo playfully. "Come on, Bakubro. We wouldn't have been that bad. We're your friends after all, and Aizawa-sensei said we need to modify our costumes." Bakugo's expression softened just a fraction as he grumbled, "Yeah, well, just be prepared to be amazed." The class gathered around a workbench, where Izuku and Bakugo spread out their costumes and equipment. Izuku, having learned everything she could about support technology, was determined to create the perfect costume and weapons for her brother. She meticulously researched Bakugo's preferences and incorporated them into her designs. As Izuku unveiled the modified costume, Class 1A gasped in awe. It was a stunning piece of work, with sleek black armor and intricate details that perfectly captured Bakugo's explosive personality. The costume bore a skull emblem, a reflection of their shared love for dark fashion. Kirishima couldn't contain his excitement and blurted out, "Dude, that looks freaking awesome." Bakugo's chest swelled with pride, and a rare smile tugged at the corners of his lips. "Yeah, my sister knows me best." Class 1A gathered around, admiring the craftsmanship and attention to detail in Izuku's work. Zero marveled, "I never would have thought that someone so angelic-looking could create something this badass." Izuku blushed at the compliments but maintained her composed demeanor. "Thank you everyone. It was a labor of love for my brother." Kaminari chimed in, unable to hide his astonishment. "So, you're the one behind Bakugo's incredible costume. You're seriously talented, Bakugo." Izuku smiled appreciatively. "I'm glad you think so. It's important to me that Cat has the best equipment to support his explosive quirk." Aizawa, who had been observing from a distance, approached the group. His usually stoic expression softened as he spoke. "I must say, Bug, your work is impressive. It seems you have a talent for support technology." Izuku bowed respectfully. "Thank you, Aizawa-sensei. I wanted to use my skills to help my brother be the best hero he can be." Aizawa nodded approvingly. "It's commendable that you're supporting your brother's dreams in such a unique way. Keep up the good work." As the class continued with their costume modifications under the guidance of the support course teachers, Izuku's presence left an indelible impression on everyone. Her calmness, talent, and unwavering support for Bakugo were unlike anything they had encountered before. Bakugo, usually the center of attention, was happy that Izuku shined. He watched as his classmates praised her work and realized that they were beginning to understand the depth of their relationship. He couldn't help but feel a sense of satisfaction and pride as he looked at his twin sister, knowing that she was an integral part of his journey to become a hero. Little did they know that Izuku's involvement in their lives would go far beyond modifying costumes. Her quiet strength and unwavering support would leave a lasting impact on each member of Class 1A, forever changing the course of their friendships and their futures as heroes. Zero comment. Chapter 4. Chapter 3. Unleashing the Explosive Power. Class 1A sat in their classroom, awaiting Aizawa's arrival. As the door swung open, their teacher announced the joint training with Class 1B. The excitement filled the room, but their attention was quickly drawn to Aizawa's next statement. "And I've called in someone from the support course to assist," Aizawa said, pausing for a moment. "Izuku Bakugo." Whispers erupted throughout the class. Izuku Bakugo? They knew her as the talented support specialist, but they had no idea she would be joining them in combat. The shock was palpable, and anticipation hung in the air. A while ago, Aizawa made his way to the support course to fetch Izuku. She was immersed in her work, meticulously crafting a new gadget. Izawa explained the situation and requested her presence to help control Katsuki if he went overboard. Izuku nodded, leaving her unfinished creation behind, and followed Izawa back to Class 1A. She entered the room with an air of calm confidence, her gaze meeting the eyes of her fellow classmates. As the joint training session unfolded, Katsuki found himself on the receiving end of a brutal assault. He fought fiercely, but the injuries began to pile up. Izuku's eyes burned with an intensity they had never witnessed before. The anger and determination that radiated from her sent shivers down their spines. Izuku approached Izawa, her voice was cold and chilling. "Izawa-sensei, may I please fight Class 1B alone?" Her request left Izawa taken aback, but when he saw the unwavering determination in her eyes, he couldn't refuse. The rest of Class 1A looked on in confusion as Izawa ordered them to stand down. They watched as Izuku walked towards the training ground where Class 1B stood, their expressions a mix of concern and bewilderment. What is she doing? Is she really going to take on Class 1B by herself? Uraraka whispered, her voice filled with disbelief. Katsuki, on the other hand, erupted into laughter. He doubled over, clutching his stomach as tears streamed down his face. "This sheet is going down. They are so effed up," he managed to choke out between fits of laughter. His laughter only deepened the confusion among his classmates. They couldn't comprehend why Bakubot, who was usually so overprotective of his sister, would find amusement in this situation. Bakubot took a seat, still chuckling as he produced a bag of popcorn seemingly out of thin air. He exclaimed, "Just sit down and learn, you extras." The class exchanged bewildered glances, their attention shifting back to the training ground. Izuku stood there, clad in UA training clothes, devoid of any weapons or gadgets. She wore a calm expression, her eyes sharp with determination. The battle began, and Izuku's movements were a symphony of agility and precision. She effortlessly dodged attacks, weaving through the battlefield with grace. When it was her turn to strike, her explosions erupted with a ferocity that surpassed even Katsuki's. The sheer power behind each blast left Class 1A in awe. As she fought, Izuku's curses echoed through the air, her words filled with rage and vengeance for her injured brother. She fought with a tenacity that mirrored Katsuki's own ferocity. Class 1B's screams of defeat mingled with her curses, amplifying the chaos unfolding before them. Class 1A, Izawa, Vlad King, and All Might stood there, jaws dropped in disbelief. They had never seen this side of Izuku before. The girl who was once mild-mannered and polite had transformed into a female version of Katsuki himself. After defeating Class 1B, Izuku rushed to her brother's side, concern etched across her face. Katsuki, still chuckling, patted her head and complimented her on her performance. He embraced her, their cheeks pressed together, relishing the moment. The rest of Class 1A approached, their voices filled with a mix of awe and confusion. They bombarded Izuku with questions, demanding to know why she had never revealed her true strength before. Izuku looked at them, genuine confusion in her eyes. "Why didn't I tell you?" "Well, first, you never asked," she replied, a slight shrug in her voice. "And second, it didn't seem like necessary information. I've always been focused on support and building. Fighting wasn't my priority." Izawa couldn't help but let out a chuckle. He approached Izuku and asked, "Why didn't you join the hero course if you possess such strength?" Izuku's laughter filled the air, a mischievous glint in her eyes. "Join the hero course? That's boring. I'm here to build weapons and support Kat. That's what I'm passionate about." Her words hung in the air, leaving the class and teachers stunned. They never expected such a response. Yet, at that moment, they understood that Izuku Bakubot, the quiet support specialist, possessed a power and determination that rivaled even the strongest heroes. Before they could process it all, Izuku's excitement took hold. She turned to Katsuki, her eyes shining with anticipation. "Kat, I made a weapon for you. Let's go test it out." With permission from Nedu already obtained, the twins dashed off, leaving the two classes and their teachers stunned. They followed the siblings, curiosity driving them forward. In a specially designed area of the fake city, Izuku unveiled her creation Blasty. Katsuki's eyes gleamed with excitement as he donned the weapon, fully aware of its potential to enhance his explosive quirk. But before he could test it, Katsuki's expression softened, a hint of loneliness in his voice. "I miss our training sessions together," he confessed, a touch of vulnerability in his words. "Join me in destroying this place, testing this new weapon. Just like old times." Izuku's giggle echoed through the air, a response that Katsuki expected. Together, they unleashed a torrent of explosions, laughter accompanying each blast. The city crumbled before them, reduced to rubble in a matter of minutes. Class 1A and Class 1B watched in awe and fear, their bodies trembling with the raw power that emanated from the twins. The air was heavy with the realization that Izuku was no ordinary support specialist. She was a force to be reckoned with, a fierce warrior who stood by her brother's side. Aizawa, Vlad King, and All Might stood there, silent witnesses to the destruction and power before them. The joint training had revealed a new truth, one that would forever change the way they saw Izuku and her place in the hero world. Zero comment. Chapter 5. Chapter 4, Blasty. Class 1A was in the midst of Aizawa's lecture when the door burst open with a bang. In rushed Izuku, her eyes sparkling with excitement. She grabbed Katsuki by the arm and pulled him along, completely disrupting the class. Aizawa stopped mid-sentence, his eyes narrowing at the sudden interruption. "Bakugo, what is the meaning of this?" Izuku grinned mischievously, unfazed by the stern gaze of their teacher. "Sorry, Aizawa-sensei, but I just couldn't wait to show everyone our new invention. It's gonna be epic." The class exchanged bewildered glances, unsure of what Izuku was talking about. Katsuki, however, wore a smirk, clearly aware of what his sister had in store. "Get ready, losers. Izuku and I are about to blow your minds." The confusion in the room only grew as Izuku pulled out Blasty, the magnificent weapon she had designed. It gleamed with power and potential, capturing everyone's attention. "Whoa, what is that?" Kirishima exclaimed, his eyes widening. "Izuku, is that your quirk?" Uraraka asked, her voice filled with surprise. Izuku chuckled, shaking her head. "Nah, it's just a support item I created. But trust me, it's gonna pack a punch." Aizawa, still trying to regain control of the chaotic situation, sighed in exasperation. "Bakugo, your sister is causing a disturbance. This better be worth it." Power Loader, unable to contain his excitement, stepped forward, a wide grin on his face. "Oh, it's more than worth it, Aizawa. This item is a masterpiece. You're in for a treat." Aizawa raised an eyebrow, looking at Power Loader skeptically. "I hope you know what you're doing." Ignoring the teacher's concern, Power Loader turned to Izuku and Katsuki. "All right, explosive siblings. Let's see what this baby can do. Show them the true meaning of power." Katsuki and Izuku exchanged knowing glances, their anticipation growing. They both donned their Blasty equipment, ready to unleash havoc upon the fake city. As they stepped onto the fake city, the class watched in both awe and disbelief. The destruction was swift and merciless. Buildings crumbled, explosions rocked the air, and debris flew in all directions. The once pristine city was reduced to ruins in a matter of minutes. "Is this even legal?" Momo muttered, her eyes wide with shock. "I never thought Izuku could cause this much chaos." Denki exclaimed, a mix of fear and excitement in his voice. Aizawa and the other teachers stood at a distance, their mouths agape, unable to comprehend the sheer power of Blasty and the explosive siblings. Power Loader, on the other hand, couldn't contain his laughter, reveling in the chaos unfolding before him. "Look at that destruction." Power Loader cackled, pointing at the crumbling buildings. "That's the power of Blasty. Isn't it incredible?" Aizawa sighed, pinching the bridge of his nose. "I suppose incredible is one way to describe it." During the chaos, Izuku's voice could be heard, shouting with glee. "Blasty! Blasty!" The class exchanged confused glances, struggling to comprehend the meaning behind Izuku's repeated exclamation. Only Katsuki, who had a front-row seat to his sister's enthusiasm, gasped as realization dawned upon him. "Blasty! She named her invention Blasty," he exclaimed, a mix of disbelief and amusement in his voice. The battle continued, explosions resonating through the air as Izuku and Katsuki reveled in the power of Blasty. The class watched, equal parts terrified and fascinated, as their classmates wreaked havoc on the fake city. In the end, the explosive siblings stood amidst the destruction, their bodies covered in soot and grin plastered on their faces. Izuku ran up to Katsuki, unable to contain her excitement. "Did you see that, Kat? Blasty was amazing," she exclaimed, her eyes shining with pride. Katsuki pulled his sister into a tight hug, rubbing her back gently. "Yeah, Izuku. You did great. I missed this side of you." As the smoke cleared and the chaos settled, the class finally found their voices. "Is it too late to transfer to the support course?" Siyu muttered, her voice laced with both awe and terror. "Izuku sure knows how to make an entrance," Mindmapper remarked, a bead of sweat rolling down his forehead. Aizawa, although exhausted and slightly frustrated, couldn't help but feel a hint of pride for his students. Well, at least they got the class excited about something. The aftermath of the Battle of Blasty left Class 1A and their teachers in awe and confusion, with Izuku and Katsuki's explosive partnership and the power of Blasty forever etched in their memories. Zero comment. Chapter 6, Chapter 5, Blasty Breakthroughs. As the dust settled and the class caught their breath, they noticed Izuku standing off to the side, her shoulders slumped in disappointment. Concerned, Momo approached her. "Izuku, what's wrong? You were amazing out there," Momo said, her voice filled with admiration. Izuku let out a sigh, her expression downcast. "I'm just a little disappointed with Blasty. It still needs more work. This was just the beta version, you know?" The class stared at her in disbelief, their eyes widening. "Wait, that was just the beta version?" Denki exclaimed, his jaw dropping. "Are you serious? Blasty wiped out the entire city, and it was just a beta," Mina added, her voice filled with incredulity. Izuku nodded, a hint of frustration in her voice. "Yeah, it still has some KNKS to work out. But trust me, the final version will be even more spectacular." The class exchanged glances, unable to comprehend the sheer power and destruction they had witnessed from a weapon that was supposedly not even at its full potential. The shock on their faces morphed into a mixture of awe, fear, and a newfound respect for Izuku's engineering skills. Aizawa, who had been observing from a distance, approached the group with a raised eyebrow. "Blastia? Quite the name for such a formidable device." Power Loader, unable to contain his excitement, joined the conversation. "Aizawa, you have no idea. Blasty is just the beginning. It's going to revolutionize the support hero industry." Aizawa sighed, resigning himself to the chaotic nature of his students and their inventions. "I suppose I should have expected nothing less from the explosive siblings." Meanwhile, Izuku remained in her corner, pouting with crossed arms. "It's not good enough yet. I need to improve it." Katsuki, unable to resist his sister's adorable pout, approached her with a smirk. "Hey, don't be so hard on yourself, Izuku. Blasty was already impressive. We'll work on it together and make it even better." Izuku's pout softened as she looked up at her brother, a small smile forming on her face. "Thanks, Kat. I guess I just wanted it to be perfect." The class watched the exchange, a mix of amusement and confusion evident on their faces. The idea that Blasty, which had decimated an entire city, was merely a beta version left them dumbfounded. They couldn't help but marvel at the boundless potential of Izuku's inventions and the explosive siblings' partnership. And so, as the class dispersed, the talk of Blasty and its incredible power echoed through the halls of UA, leaving everyone to wonder just what the final version would be capable of. As the days went by, Izuku and Katsuki continued to fine-tune Blasty, their shared excitement fueling their determination. The class couldn't help but overhear their conversations about schematics, upgrades, and potential improvements. It became a common sight to see the explosive siblings huddled together, discussing the next iteration of the powerful weapon. One afternoon, Izuku burst into the classroom, her eyes gleaming with excitement. She practically dragged Katsuki by the arm, who begrudgingly followed along. Guess what, everyone? We've made some breakthroughs with Blasty, Izuku exclaimed, her voice brimming with enthusiasm. The class perked up, their curiosity piqued. They gathered around Izuku and Katsuki, eager to hear the latest developments. Tell us, Izuku, what's the big news? Achiko asked, her eyes sparkling with anticipation. Izuku took a deep breath, barely containing her excitement. We've implemented an enhanced propulsion system and upgraded the energy output. Blasty's power has been amplified significantly. The class erupted into a mix of awe and disbelief. Seriously? How much stronger can it get? Tsuyu asked, her voice filled with genuine curiosity. Izuku beamed, her enthusiasm infectious. Oh, it can get much, much stronger. We're talking about double the explosive power, increased precision, and better control. The class exchanged amazed glances, struggling to comprehend the sheer force that Blasty would possess in its enhanced form. They knew better than to underestimate Izuku's engineering prowess, but the extent of the improvements was beyond their imagination. Izawa, who had been observing from the sidelines, couldn't help but shake his head in bemusement. I should have known better than to expect a calm and uneventful day with these two around. Power Loader, always eager to join the conversation, stepped forward with a mischievous grin. You all have no idea. Blasty is going to blow your minds. Literally. Izawa groaned and rubbed his temples, silently questioning his career choices. Meanwhile, Vlad King watched the proceedings with a mixture of amusement and pride. He knew that Blasty was just the beginning of Izuku's journey as a support hero. Izuku's eyes sparkled with determination as she looked at her classmates. You're all going to witness the true power of Blasty soon. And don't worry, we'll make sure to use it responsibly. The class nodded, a mix of excitement and trepidation coursing through their veins. They couldn't wait to see what Blasty version 2.0 would bring, even if it meant more chaos, destruction, and the occasional scolding from their teachers. Class 1A and 1B stared at the twins with horrified gazes. It's been only mere minutes and now the fake city, or which was a city once, was destroyed. The damage Blasty did was greater than last time. As the smoke slowly dissipated, Izawa's stern gaze fell upon Power Loader, who was still jumping around in excitement. Izawa crossed his arms and approached the jubilant hero support course instructor with a raised eyebrow. Ahem, Power Loader, Izawa began, his voice laced with an undertone of irritation. Care to explain what exactly you've been teaching Izuku? And perhaps why you're behaving like an overgrown child? Power Loader paused. Mindmapper, his eyes wide with innocence as he turned to face Izawa. Oh, come on, Izawa. Lighten up. We were just having some explosive fun. Vlad King, trying to stifle a chuckle, chimed in. Yes, Izawa, haven't you heard? Power Loader is the MSTR of Boom Boom techniques. Izawa sighed, pinching the bridge of his nose. MSTR of Boom Boom techniques? Is that even a legitimate teaching method? Power Loader shrugged, unbothered by the questioning. Well, explosions are an important part of the hero world, you know. Gotta embrace the chaos. Meanwhile, Present Mike couldn't help but join in on the comedic banter. Ah yes, chaos, destruction, and childish instructors. Truly the epitome of hero training. Izawa shot a stern glance at Present Mike before redirecting his attention back to Power Loader. Power Loader, I hope you realize the importance of teaching responsibility and control alongside explosions. Power Loader waved a dismissive hand, a mischievous twinkle in his eye. Of course, of course. But where's the fun in responsibility without a little chaos? As the teachers engaged in their playful exchange, Izuku and Katsuki exchanged a knowing glance, trying their best to stifle their laughter. Izuku couldn't help but feel a sense of pride in her explosive antics, even if it meant enduring the scolding of her teachers. During the comedic chaos, Momo approached Izawa, a smirk playing on her lips. Sensei, if Power Loader is the MSTR of Boom Boom techniques, does that mean you're the MSTR of sleeping techniques? Izawa shot Momo a deadpan look. Momo, you're dangerously close to detention. Momo chuckled, not fazed by the threat. Fair enough, Sensei. But in all seriousness, Izuku's explosions are impressive, don't you think? Aizawa's stern expression softened ever so slightly as he glanced at the aftermath of Blasty's destructive display. Impressive indeed, Momo. But I hope she channels that power and enthusiasm responsibly. Power Loader, overhearing their conversation, chimed in with a cheeky grin. Responsibility? That's overrated. Explosions are the way to go. Aizawa groaned, his patience wearing thin. Clearly, we have a lot of work to do in shaping the minds of our hero support course instructors. The class burst into laughter, the tension dissolving into light-hearted banter. Even Aizawa couldn't help but crack a small smile amidst the chaos. After all, it was moments like these that made their training experiences memorable, even if they involved explosive and childish instructors. Izuku's eyes widened with determination as she clenched her fists. But it's still not enough. Blasty can be even stronger. I won't settle for anything less. Her outburst startled her classmates, who took a step back, wide-eyed and fearful. The once excited atmosphere turned tense as they exchanged worried glances. Izuku, maybe we should take a step back and think this through, Ida suggested, his voice laced with concern. But Power Loader, never one to shy away from chaos, stepped forward, grinning from ear to ear. That's the spirit, Izuku. Always aiming for greatness. Let's see just how far we can push the limits of Blasty. The class turned to Power Loader, their expressions a mix of disbelief and astonishment. Aizawa simply sighed, realizing that there was no stopping this train of explosive ambition. Izuku's determination ignited once again as she smiled at Power Loader, her frustration subsiding. You're right, Power Loader. We can make Blasty even more incredible. We'll work together and create the ultimate support hero weapon. As the class watched Izuku and Power Loader eagerly discussing their plans, they couldn't help but feel a mixture of apprehension and awe. They were witnessing the BNHA of something extraordinary, but they also knew it meant more explosions, more chaos, and more raised eyebrows from the faculty. And so, with Izuku's unwavering determination and Power Loader's enthusiastic support, the journey to push the limits of Blasty continued. The rest of the class could only brace themselves for what lay ahead, knowing that wherever the explosive siblings went, chaos and explosions were sure to follow. UA High School would never be the same again, and the heroes in training of Class 1A could only hope to survive the explosive adventures yet to come. And so, as the dust settled and the teachers attempted to regain control over the situation, Power Loader continued to cheer and revel in his own explosive world, unfazed by the questioning gazes. The comedic chaos would forever be etched in the memories of Class 1A and 1B, a reminder of the unique and sometimes unconventional journey they were on. Zero comment. Chapter 7, Chapter 6, Quirky. It was a new day at UA High School, and the students of Class 1A were just settling into their classroom when the door swung open with a bang. There stood Izuku Bakugo, her eyes gleaming with excitement and a mischievous grin on her face. "Guess what, everyone?" she exclaimed, barely able to contain her excitement. "I've created a new weapon that can compete with Blasty." The class erupted into a chorus of gasps and murmurs, their curiosity piqued. They had seen the destructive power of Blasty firsthand, and now, Izuku was claiming to have something even more astonishing. "But what is this weapon, Izuku?" Momo asked, her eyes wide with anticipation. Izuku's grin widened, and she laughed like a maniac, a hint of madness in her eyes. "Oh, you'll find out soon enough. Follow me to the fake city. I've prepared a little demonstration for all of you." The class exchanged bewildered glances, unsure of what to expect. Had Izuku finally lost her mind? But curiosity got the better of them, and they followed her to the reconstructed fake city. As they arrived, the class members were on high alert, expecting an explosive weapon like Blasty. But to their astonishment, Izuku pulled out a sleek device that resembled a modified gauntlet, adorned with various buttons and controls. "What is that thing, Izuku?" Kirishima asked, his voice tinged with both excitement and trepidation. Izuku's laughter echoed through the air as she raised the device. "Behold, everyone, this is Quirky. With this weapon, I can use all of your quirks. The class erupted into a mixture of shock, disbelief, and nervous laughter. The teachers, too, were left dumbfounded. Power Loader, in particular, couldn't contain his joy as tears streamed down his face. It seemed his teaching methods had taken an unexpected turn. "Bakugo, what on earth have you been learning from Power Loader?" Aizawa muttered, shaking his head in disbelief. With a mischievous glint in her eyes, Izuku motioned for the class to gather around. "Now watch closely. I'll demonstrate the power of Quirky." With a flick of SWH, the gauntlet hummed to life. In an instant, Izuku's appearance transformed into a whirlwind of action and chaos. She used the weapon to channel the quirks of her classmates, unleashing a devastating display of their powers. From Todoroki's icy blasts to Uraraka's gravity manipulation, Izuku harnessed their abilities with precision and skill. The fake city trembled under the force of her onslaught, buildings crumbling and debris soaring through the air. "What is this?" Ida stammered, his eyes wide as he watched his own power being unleashed by Izuku. "Izuku, this is incredible!" Uraraka exclaimed, her voice a mix of awe and disbelief. The teachers, meanwhile, exchanged perplexed glances, their jaws dropping at the spectacle unfolding before them. "Nedu, what in the world did Power Loader teach young Bakugo?" All Might whispered, his eyes wide with concern. But Izuku paid no attention to their bewildered expressions. She was lost in the exhilaration of the moment, relishing in the sheer power and chaos of Quirky. And Katsuki, not one to be left out, joined in on the mayhem, bringing out Blasty to add to the destruction. The twins, with their matching grins, laughed like maniacs as they unleashed their combined might upon the hapless fake city. The teachers tried to intervene, but it was too late. The destruction had begun, and there was no stopping the explosive duo. As chaos reigned and laughter filled the air, the students and teachers could only watch in a mixture of shock, awe, and a hint of terror. Quirky and Blasty had taken their powers to new heights, leaving everyone to question the limits of madness and the true extent of the Bakugo twins' explosive potential. Amidst the chaos and destruction, conversations broke out among the stunned onlookers. "What in the world is happening?" Mineta shrieked, clinging to Tsuyu for dear life. I never knew Izuku had this kind of power," Tokoyami muttered, his usually composed demeanor crumbling. Mina, with wide eyes and a mix of fear and excitement, turned to her classmates. "Guys, did we just witness the BNHA of a new kind of insanity?" Power Loader, standing by Aizawa and the other teachers, couldn't help but burst into uncontrollable laughter. "Ha! I knew Izuku had it in her. That's my girl." Aizawa glared at Power Loader, his voice filled with disbelief. "Are you seriously proud of this chaos you've unleashed?" Power Loader shrugged, still chuckling. "Hey, sometimes a little madness can be a good thing. It's all part of the learning process." Meanwhile, Izuku and Katsuki reveled in their destructive display. Izuku, still laughing, shouted amidst the chaos, "Isn't this amazing, Katsuki? We're unstoppable." Katsuki grinned, his eyes shining with excitement. "Demon right, Izuku. We're the ultimate explosive duo." The twins continued to wreak havoc, using their combined powers to obliterate every obstacle in their path. The city crumbled under their might, leaving nothing but ruins in their wake. As the dust settled, the students and teachers looked on, their expressions a mix of awe, confusion, and a hint of concern. I can't believe what I just witnessed," Achiko whispered, her voice trembling. "Izuku, what are you even thinking?" shouted a frustrated Ida. "This level of destruction is unacceptable." But Izuku, breathing from the exertion, turned to her classmates with a wide grin. "Come on, guys. Admit it. That was pretty cool, right?" The class exchanged glances, unsure of how to respond. Ultimately, their bewildered expressions softened, and they couldn't help but smile. "Yeah, it was pretty damn cool," Kirishima admitted, his voice filled with reluctant admiration. "Only you, Izuku, could create something so ridiculously powerful," Momo added, a mix of disbelief and admiration in her eyes. Amidst the destruction and chaos, Izuku reveled in the praise, her disappointment from earlier long forgotten. She had succeeded in leaving everyone speechless and had proven once again that her passion for engineering and explosive power knew no bounds. And so, as the dust settled and the echoes of laughter faded, the Bakugo twins stood amidst the wreckage, their grins unyielding. The legend of Quirky and Blasty would forever be etched in the memories of UA High School, a testament to the explosive potential that resided within the seemingly ordinary. With the city in ruins and the aftermath of their explosive display, the students and teachers gathered around the Bakugo twins, their expressions a mix of amazement, concern, and sheer confusion. Aizawa rubbed his temples, struggling to find words to articulate his thoughts. Bakugo! Izuku! What in the world have you two done? Izuku beamed proudly, her chest puffed out with a sense of accomplishment. Isn't it incredible, Aizawa-sensei? Blasty and Quirky, the ultimate destructive duo. Aizawa sighed, a mix of exasperation and resignation. Incredible is one way to put it, I suppose. Power Loader, wiping tears of laughter from his eyes, stepped forward, unable to contain his excitement. Izuku, you've outdone yourself this time. You've shown everyone the true meaning of explosive power. Izuku's grin widened. Thank you, Power Loader. I'm glad you appreciate it. Mina approached cautiously, a mixture of fascination and apprehension in her eyes. Izuku, how did you even create these weapons? They're like nothing I've ever seen. Izuku chuckled, a mischievous glint in her eyes. Ah, Mina, my secret weapon-building techniques are reserved for my own twisted genius. A true artist never reveals her secrets. Katsuki smirked, his voice laced with pride. That's right, losers. Only my sister and I possess the power to bring such chaos and destruction. Denki, still trembling from the aftermath, stammered, Izuku, I always knew you were strong, but this is on a whole other level. Izuku shrugged nonchalantly. I guess I've been holding back a bit, huh? It's about time everyone saw what I'm truly capable of. As the students continued to process the mind-boggling display of power, the teachers exchanged concerned glances, contemplating the implications of the twins' destructive abilities. Nedu, the ever-calculating principal, approached with a mixture of curiosity and caution. Bakugo twins, your powers and inventions are truly extraordinary, but we must ensure they are used responsibly. This level of destruction cannot be overlooked. Izuku nodded, her enthusiasm tinged with a newfound sense of responsibility. You're right, Principal Nedu. I promise to use my powers for good and to continue honing my skills as a support hero. Katsuki chimed in, a rare moment of sincerity in his voice. Izu and I will always have each other's backs. We'll use our powers to protect and achieve greatness. Aizawa, still trying to comprehend the chaos, muttered under his breath, I'm starting to question my life choices as a teacher. Power Loader, overhearing Aizawa's comment, burst into laughter once again. Come on, Aizawa. Embrace the chaos. It keeps things interesting. And so, amidst the laughter, confusion, and newfound respect, the Bakugo twins stood tall. Quirky and Blasty had left an indelible mark on the hearts and minds of their peers. The explosive power they possessed had forever altered the perception of what was possible within the realm of heroism. As they prepared to rebuild the city they had laid to waste, the Bakugo twins looked forward to new adventures, new inventions, and a future filled with explosive potential. Zero comment. Chapter 8, Chapter 7, Bakugo Special, Explosive Toast Blender. One day, Izuku burst into Class 1A with a mischievous grin on her face, carrying a large box covered in a vibrant, colorful wrapping paper. The class turned their attention to her, their curiosity piqued. Hey, losers! Gathered round, it's time for some explosive fun. Izuku declared, her voice dripping with playful sarcasm. Kaminari's eyes lit up. Ooh, what have you got there, Izuku? Another one of your crazy inventions. Izuku's grin widened as she dramatically unveiled her creation, revealing a contraption that resembled a combination of a toaster and a blender. The class collectively raised their eyebrows in confusion, unsure of what they were looking. Mina couldn't help but burst into laughter. Izuku, what on earth is that? Izuku struck a pose, holding up her creation proudly. Behold, my fellow losers, the one and only Bakugo Special Explosive Toast Blender. The class erupted into a mix of laughter and disbelief. Katsuki himself couldn't help but chuckle, albeit begrudgingly. So, you've finally come up with a way to combine my explosive temper and breakfast? I'm almost impressed, sis. Izuku smirked. Oh, you should be, Kat. This beauty can toast your bread with explosions and blend your smoothies with a bang. Kirishima scratched his head. But Izuku, isn't that a bit dangerous? I mean, explosive toast sounds like a recipe for disaster. Izuku waved off his concerns. Nonsense. It's all part of the thrill. Who needs a boring toaster when you can have a breakfast experience that'll blow you away? Shiro joined in, a mischievous glint in his eyes. So, Izuku, are you going to give us a demonstration? I'm curious to see how this explosive toast tastes. Izuku's eyes sparkled with excitement. Of course. Prepare yourselves, my fellow culinary adventurers. As the class gathered around, Izuku carefully placed slices of bread into the Bakugo Special, adjusting the settings with a flick of her finger. The contraption hummed to life, and everyone braced themselves for the explosive spectacle. With a thunderous boom, the toast launched out of the machine, propelled by tiny controlled explosions. The class members caught the slices midair, their faces a mix of shock and amusement. Mina took a bite, her eyes widening. Wow, Izuku! This toast has a real kick to it. Kaminari's face lit up. It's like a flavor explosion in my mouth. Literally. Katsuki couldn't help but smile at his sister's enthusiasm. You did good, Izuku. The flavor matches the explosions. Ida, always concerned with safety, chimed in. Izuku, let's make sure we keep this contained. We don't want random explosions during breakfast at the dorms. Izuku nodded, her expression earnest. Don't worry, Ida. The Bakugo Special will be enjoyed in a controlled environment. No accidental explosions, I promise. As the class settled down, they couldn't help but appreciate Izuku's unique brand of inventiveness. Though her Bakugo Special might not be the most practical invention, it was a testament to her boundless imagination and the comedic flair she brought to their lives. From that day forward, whenever they had a casual gathering or a study session, the class would tease Izuku about her explosive creations. The Bakugo Special became a running joke, a reminder of the incredible bond they shared and the eccentricities that made each of them special. And so, as Izuku continued to create her unique inventions and embrace her explosive nature, the class of UA Academy learned to appreciate the humor, excitement, and unexpected surprises that came with having Bakugo Izuku, the fiery support specialist, as a part of their heroic journey. Zero comment. Chapter 9, Chapter 8, Bubble Blaster 3000. As the days went by, Izuku's inventions became more elaborate and outrageous. The class eagerly anticipated her next creation, wondering what she would come up with next. One afternoon, as the class gathered in the training ground, Izuku suddenly appeared with a contraption that resembled a combination of a cannon and a bubble machine. Colorful bubbles floated through the air, catching the attention of everyone in the room. Behold, my fellow losers! I present to you the Bakugo Bubble Blaster 3000. Izuku exclaimed, a mischievous glint in her eyes. Shiro raised an eyebrow, unable to contain his curiosity. Izuku, what's with the bubbles? How do they relate to explosions? Izuku grinned, adjusting her goggles and flipping a switch on the contraption. The Bubble Blaster 3000 roared to life, propelling bubbles in every direction, each accompanied by a small explosion. Explosive bubbles. Because regular bubbles are just too boring, Izuku explained, dodging bubbles as they popped around her. Mina couldn't help but burst into laughter. Izuku, you really know how to make an entrance. Explosive bubbles, who would have thought? Kirishima joined in the fun, catching a bubble and watching it explode in his palm. This is wild, Izuku. It's like playing with miniature fireworks. As the bubbles floated around the training ground, the class couldn't resist the temptation to touch them, curious to experience the explosion within. Each pop was met with laughter, gasps, and a sense of childlike wonder. As the bubbles continued to fill the training ground, chaos and hilarity ensued. The class couldn't resist the urge to playfully interact with the explosive bubbles, resulting in a series of comedic reactions. Mindmapper, always the mischievous one, attempted to catch a bubble in his mouth, only to have it explode and cover his face in a colorful mess. The class erupted into laughter at the sight, causing Mindmapper to pout and hastily wipe away the remnants of the bubble. Ishido, with her infectious enthusiasm, danced and twirled through the floating bubbles, creating a spectacle of colorful explosions around her. Her movements resembled a graceful ballet, albeit one with a touch of explosive surprise. The class clapped and cheered for her impromptu performance. Tokoyami, caught up in the whimsical nature of the moment, couldn't help but crack a rare smile beneath his shadowy exterior. He reached out to touch a bubble, only for Dark Shadow to snatch it away at the last moment, leaving Tokoyami grasping at thin air. The class burst into laughter at the comical exchange between the student and his shadowy quirk. Meanwhile, Aoyama, ever the fashionista, found a way to incorporate the explosive bubbles into his personal style. He carefully caught a few bubbles and delicately placed them on his suit, creating a sparkling explosion of colors that left the class in awe. He struck a pose, exclaiming, "Uwala! Explosive elegance!" Even the usually stoic Todoroki couldn't help but get caught up in the fun. With a small smile playing on his lips, he created an ice platform and slid across the room, skillfully avoiding the exploding bubbles. His graceful moves and precise control elicited both admiration and laughter from his classmates. As the chaos ensued, Izuku watched with a mix of amusement and satisfaction. Her intention had been to bring joy and laughter to her classmates, and she had certainly succeeded. Bakubot, grinning from ear to ear, couldn't contain his laughter as he watched his sister's creations in action. He clapped Bakubot Izuku on the back, causing a small explosion of bubbles to erupt around them. "You've really outdone yourself, sis. Who knew bubbles could be so damn entertaining?" Izuku beamed at her brother's approval. "Thanks, Kat. I'm glad you're enjoying it. But trust me, this is just the beginning. I've got even crazier ideas up my sleeve." The class erupted into excited chatter, eagerly speculating about what kind of explosive invention Izuku would unveil next. They couldn't wait to experience more of her comedic creations and the unpredictable joy they brought. As the day came to a close, the class gathered together, covered in bubbles and still chuckling from the day's shenanigans. They realized that while hero training was crucial, moments of laughter and camaraderie were equally important. Izuku had reminded them of the power of humor and how it could strengthen their bonds as a class. Looking around at her classmates, Izuku couldn't help but feel a sense of pride and gratitude. They had embraced her quirks, both her explosive inventions and her role as Bakubot's twin sister, with open arms. She knew that no matter what challenges lay ahead, they would always have each other's backs. Certainly. Here's the revised continuation. The bubbles continued to fill the training arena. The chaos and hilarity caught the attention of the teachers. Aizawa, Vlad King, and All Might had been observing from a distance, but now they couldn't resist joining in on the fun. Aizawa, known for his deadpan expression, found himself unable to hide a small smile as he watched the students frolic in the explosive bubbles. He strode over to the group, trying to maintain his stern demeanor. "As amusing as this is, remember that we are still in a training environment," he said, though the slight twinkle in his eyes betrayed his amusement. Vlad King, not one to shy away from a good time, enthusiastically joined the bubble extravaganza. With his cape billowing behind him, he swiped at a bubble, causing it to explode in a burst of colorful sparks. The students erupted into cheers and applause, thoroughly entertained by their teacher's playful antics. All Might, never one to miss out on a moment of levity, flexed his muscular form and blew a gust of wind toward the bubbles, creating a swirling vortex of explosive colors. The students laughed and cheered as the bubbles spun around them, creating a kaleidoscope of joy. The teachers and students alike found themselves engaged in a friendly bubble-popping competition, each attempting to outdo the other with their explosive skills. Explosions reverberated through the air as bubbles burst in a dazzling display of colors and laughter. Amidst the chaos, Izuku couldn't help but feel a sense of satisfaction at the sight. Her intention to bring joy and laughter had spread beyond just her classmates and had now infected the teachers as well. Katsuki, his laughter booming through the training arena, clapped his sister on the back. "You see that, Izuku?" Even the old geezers couldn't resist joining in. "Your explosions truly know no bounds." Izuku grinned, pride evident in her eyes. "Thanks, Kat. It's amazing to see everyone having such a blast. I never knew bubbles could be this explosive." As the bubble-popping extravaganza continued, the training arena became a vibrant spectacle of laughter and camaraderie. Teachers and students alike bonded over the shared experience, forgetting momentarily the pressures of hero training. Izawa, Vlad King, and All Might looked on, their faces adorned with grins and their hearts filled with nostalgia. It reminded them of their own youth and the importance of embracing the lighter moments amidst the hardships of heroism. Eventually, the bubble frenzy began to die down, leaving the training arena littered with the remnants of exploded bubbles. The teachers and students gathered together, breathless and covered in colorful specks. Izawa stepped forward, his voice tinged with a mixture of sternness and amusement. "Well, it seems our little detour into explosive bubble territory has come to an end. Let's remember to clean up before we leave." The students nodded, their faces flushed with the lingering excitement of the bubble-filled adventure. They picked up brooms and began sweeping away the remnants, exchanging playful banter and laughter as they worked together to restore order to the training arena. As the sun began to set, casting a warm glow over the scene, the teachers and students stood side by side, a united front, ready to face the challenges that awaited them. They had shared a moment of lightheartedness and camaraderie, reminding them of the strength they found in one another. With the training arena once again restored to its usual state, the class bid farewell to the explosive bubbles and dispersed, their spirits uplifted and laughter still echoing in their hearts. Bakugo Izuku watched her classmates walk away, feeling a sense of gratitude for their acceptance and support. She knew that with this bond, they would face any obstacle that came their way, explosions and all. And so, with a final glance back at the training arena, Bakugo Izuku turned and went to follow her classmates, ready to continue her journey towards becoming the support heroes she aspired to be. Zero comment. Chapter 10, Chapter 9, Mr. Boommy. Izuku Bakugo, the mastermind of Quirky inventions, had once again presented her latest creation to Class 1A. This time, it was a seemingly harmless boy doll, adorned with a big smile and innocent eyes. Little did they know that beneath that cute facade lay a deadly and dangerous contraption. The class gathered around, their curiosity piqued by the adorable doll in Izuku's hands. She proudly introduced her creation. "Behold, everyone. This is Mr. Boommy, the explosion buddy." Murmurs of "ah" and "how cute" echoed through the room as they admired the doll's cheerful expression. Unbeknownst to them, Mr. Boomy's smile harbored unimaginable destruction. Izuku placed Mr. Boommy on the ground, and to everyone's surprise, the doll sprang to life with a mischievous glint in its eyes. With lightning-fast speed and a maniacal giggle, Mr. Boommy dashed toward the training robots. Explosions erupted in quick succession as Mr. Boommy unleashed a devastating barrage of destruction. The training robots, caught off guard, were obliterated within seconds, leaving nothing but smoldering ruins. The class stared in awe and disbelief as Mr. Boommy returned to Izuku, its tiny arms held triumphantly in the air. It spoke with an eerie voice, "Mama, I did it. I destroyed them all." Izuku beamed with pride, patting Mr. Boomy's head affectionately. "That's my baby boy. You did an amazing job." The students, including Katsuki, exchanged stunned glances. Katsuki's eyes widened in horror as he realized the magnitude of Mr. Boomy's destructive power. "No way. I'm not going to be his uncle." Katsuki protested, his voice tinged with panic. "I'm too young for this." The class turned to Katsuki, their expressions a mix of confusion and amusement. Kirishima couldn't help but burst into laughter. "Bakubro, is that really your main concern right now? Mr. Boommy just demolished everything." "Yeah, explosions are your thing, but this is on another level." Uraraka chimed in, trying to stifle her laughter. Mina joined in, unable to contain herself. You're scared of a tiny explosive doll, Bakubot? That's hilarious. Katsuki crossed his arms, clearly annoyed. Yeah, laugh it up, extras. But I'm not going anywhere near that thing. The rest of the class, still recovering from their shock, couldn't help but chuckle at Katsuki's reaction. They realized that even the explosive powerhouse had its limits when it came to Izuku's inventions. Amidst the laughter and banter, Izuku stepped forward, her eyes sparkling with mischief. All right, Mr. Boommy, let's take a break. Mama needs to make some adjustments. As she carefully picked up the doll, the class watched, both amazed and wary of the seemingly harmless creation. They couldn't help but wonder what Izuku would come up with next and whether they should be excited or terrified. As the chaos ensued and Mr. Boommy continued his relentless pursuit of Class 1A, the students found themselves running in all directions, desperately trying to evade the explosive doll's clutches. Katsuki, with a look of terror on his face, sprinted through the corridors, his shouts echoing through the hallways. Get away from me, creepy doll. Todoroki, equally unnerved by Mr. Boomy's relentless smile, found himself being chased as well. He couldn't help but shiver at the doll's giggles as it closed in on him. This is absolutely absurd. In an unexpected turn of events, Katsuki and Todoroki found themselves running side by side, their expressions a mix of fear and disbelief. They exchanged glances, realizing they were in the same boat. We can't let it catch us, Katsuki gasped. Todoroki nodded, his normally composed demeanor shaken. Agreed. Let's find a way to lose it together. Meanwhile, Mr. Boommy continued his rampage, targeting one student after another. Even All Might found himself being chased by the relentless doll. The sight of the mighty hero being pursued by a tiny explosive toy left everyone in stitches. As chaos reigned, Izuku and Present Mike, who had been observing the spectacle, couldn't contain their laughter. They leaned against a nearby wall, clutching their stomachs. Mike wiped away tears of laughter and exclaimed, "This is gold, Izuku. Your creations never fail to entertain." Izuku's laughter echoed through the hallways. I'm glad you're enjoying it, Mike. This is just the beginning. Power Loader, who happened to be passing by, joined in the cheering. Go, Mr. Boommy. Show them what you're made of. Aizawa, who had managed to regain his composure, approached Izuku with a stern expression. Bakubot, I understand that your inventions can be entertaining, but please exercise caution in the future. We don't want another chaotic incident like this. Izuku flashed a mischievous smile at Aizawa and casually replied, Mr. Nedu gave me the okay. He was the one who proposed it in the first place. Aizawa fell silent, a mix of surprise and resignation on his face. He knew better than to argue with Nedu when it came to Izuku's inventions. The chaos eventually subsided as Mr. Boomy's batteries ran out, leaving the students breathing and trying to catch their breaths. They gathered in a group, still in disbelief at the unexpected turn of events. Katsuki, his hair disheveled and his expression slightly frazzled, glared at Izuku. Seriously, Izuku? What is wrong with your inventions? Izuku simply shrugged, her eyes twinkling with mischief. Hey, at least it was a good workout, right? The class erupted into laughter, relief washing over them as they realized no one was hurt and that the ordeal had ended. They were reminded once again that in the world of Izuku Bakugo's inventions, laughter and chaos went hand in hand. Aizawa, despite his earlier reservations, couldn't help but let out a chuckle. He knew that as long as Izuku was around, there would never be a dull moment in Class 1A. Zero comment. Chapter 11, Chapter 10, Bakubot. As the laughter gradually subsided, Aizawa regained his composure and addressed the class. All right, settle down everyone. Let's use this opportunity to reflect on the importance of safety and responsibility when it comes to experimenting with quirks and inventions. The students nodded in agreement, realizing the potential dangers that could arise from Izuku's creations. They understood that while her inventions were entertaining, they needed to be cautious and considerate of their impact on others. Izuku, still grinning mischievously, piped up. Don't worry, everyone. I've learned a lot from today's chaos. Safety measures will be my top priority in future inventions. Aizawa raised an eyebrow, skeptical but willing to give her the benefit of the doubt. Very well, Bakugo. I expect to see a significant improvement in your future creations. The class dispersed, returning to their usual activities with a newfound appreciation for the unpredictable nature of their classmates' inventions. Izuku, however, couldn't resist brainstorming new ideas, her mind buzzing with possibilities. Days passed, and the incident with Mr. Boommy became a legendary tale among Class 1A. Whenever someone mentioned Izuku's name, giggles and nervous laughter followed. One afternoon, as the students gathered in the training arena, Izuku emerged with a new creation. This time, she held a small remote control with a mischievous glint in her eyes. Class, allow me to introduce Bakubot, Izuku exclaimed, proudly presenting a small robotic replica of Katsuki. The miniature Bakugo doll stood there, complete with his trademark scowl and explosive gauntlets. The class erupted into a mix of laughter and cautionary murmurs. They knew better than to underestimate the potential havoc that Bakubot could wreak. Katsuki, who had been observing from a distance, approached with a mixture of curiosity and apprehension. He crossed his arms and glared at the tiny replica. What are you planning this time, Izuku? Izuku shrugged innocently. Oh, just a little friendly competition. Bakubot here is going to challenge you to a duel, Katsuki. Let's see who can come out on top. Katsuki's eyes narrowed, a competitive fire igniting within him. You're on Izuku. I'll show you who the real explosive powerhouse is. The class watched with bated breath as Katsuki faced off against Bakubot. The miniature doll unleashed a flurry of tiny explosions, matching Katsuki's moves with surprising accuracy. The sight of the explosive battle left the class in awe and stitches of laughter. As the duel continued, Bakubot's antics took a comedic turn. It started mimicking Katsuki's signature phrases and poses, much to the amusement of the class. The students couldn't help but cheer on the miniature replica, finding its playful antics endearing. Izuku, grinning from ear to ear, reveled in the entertainment her invention provided. She knew that in the world of quirks, battles, and heroes, laughter was a powerful tool to bring people together. Aizawa, observing the spectacle with a mixture of amusement and exasperation, approached Izuku. Bakugo, I hope you're aware of the risks and limitations of these inventions. Remember to always prioritize safety. Izuku nodded earnestly. Of course, Aizawa-sensei. Safety is crucial, and I've taken extra precautions this time. Aizawa eyed her skeptically but didn't press the matter further. He knew that despite the chaos and laughter, Izuku possessed a keen intellect and a strong sense of responsibility. The duel between Katsuki and Bakubot continued, each explosion met with laughter and cheers from their classmates. In that moment, Class 1A found themselves embracing the unpredictable and hilarious side of their quirk-filled lives. And so, with laughter echoing through the training arena, Izuku Bakugo's inventive spirit continued to leave its mark on her classmates, turning even the most dangerous situations into moments of joy and camaraderie. Zero comment. Chapter 12. Chapter 11. Quirk Quencher 3000. A few weeks later, Bakugo Izuku burst into the classroom with a mischievous smile on her face and a new creation in her hands. Her classmates looked up from their desks, curiosity piqued. Hey, guess what I've got for you all today? Izuku exclaimed, waving the device in the air. Uraraka, always eager for a new adventure, perked up. What is it, Izuku? Another explosive surprise? Izuku grinned, her eyes gleaming with excitement. Even better. Feast your eyes on the Quirk Quencher 3000. The class erupted into a mix of anticipation and confusion. They had seen Izuku's prowess with gadgets and inventions, but what could this new device possibly do? Bakugo Katsuki leaned forward, his interest piqued. All right, sis. Show us what your flashy brain has cooked up this time. Izuku cleared her throat dramatically before explaining. The Quirk Quencher 3000 is a device that temporarily suppresses a person's quirk. It emits a specialized energy field that can nullify quirks within a certain radius. The class exchanged skeptical glances. Suppressing quirks? That seemed counterintuitive to their training as heroes. Mina, never one to hold back her thoughts, voiced her concern. Wait, Izuku, why would we want to suppress our quirks? Aren't they the very thing that makes us heroes? Izuku nodded understandingly. I get where you're coming from, Mina. But think about it. Sometimes situations arise where we need to diffuse a tense quirk-related conflict without causing further harm. The Quirk Quencher 3000 can serve as a temporary solution to de-escalate those situations. Kirishima, always the supportive friend, chimed in. Yeah man, like when we're dealing with someone who's lost control of their quirk and poses a threat. This device could help protect both them and us until professional help arrives. The class's skepticism began to soften as they pondered the potential applications of the Quirk Quencher. They could see the logic behind Izuku's invention. Ida, the class representative, raised his hand. Izuku, how did you develop this device? It seems quite complex. Izuku beamed with pride. Well, it took a lot of research, trial and error, and a few explosions along the way, but I managed to create a prototype that I believe can be useful in certain scenarios. Momo, impressed by Izuku's ingenuity, applauded her efforts. That's incredible, Izuku. You continue to amaze us with your technological prowess. Izuku blushed at the praise, her excitement growing. Thanks, Momo. And the best part is, I've prepared a demonstration for you all. The class's interest peaked once again, their eyes fixed on Izuku and her device. With a flourish, Izuku activated the Quirk Quencher 3000, causing a faint hum to emanate from the device. She approached Mindmapper, who was known for his sticky quirk, and pointed the device at him. Within seconds, Mindmapper's quirk seemed to fade away, and his sticky hair drooped down. Mindmapper gasped, running his fingers through his hair. Whoa! My quirk is gone. Izuku grinned, explaining. Don't worry, Mindmapper. It's just temporary. Your quirk will return to normal once the device is deactivated or moved out of range. The class erupted into a mix of astonishment and laughter, amused by Mindmapper's momentary loss of his sticky powers. Jaru, always one to appreciate a good joke, quipped, finally, a moment of peace without Mindmapper's sticky antics. Mindmapper scowled, crossing his arms. Hey, not cool, Jaru. Just you wait until I get my quirk back. Izuku laughed along with the class, glad to see her invention bring some lightheartedness to the atmosphere. She was reminded once again of the power of support, not just in combat but also in fostering camaraderie among her classmates. Aizawa, having silently observed the demonstration, approached the group with a raised eyebrow. Bakugo, that's an interesting device you've created. However, remember that as heroes, it's crucial to find ways to use our quirks responsibly rather than suppress them outright. Izuku nodded, her expression serious. I understand, Aizawa-sensei. The Quirk Quencher 3000 is just one tool among many, meant to be used judiciously and in specific circumstances. Aizawa nodded in approval. Good. Keep that in mind as you continue your training. The class took a moment to appreciate the wisdom of their teacher's words before erupting into a chorus of requests to experience the Quirk Quencher 3000 themselves. Izuku chuckled, her eyes twinkling mischievously. All right. One at a time, everyone. Let's see just how creative we can get with this invention. And so, the class spent the rest of the day taking turns with the Quirk Quencher 3000, each experiencing the temporary loss of their quirks and finding amusement in the moments of vulnerability and surprise. As they laughed and experimented, they realized that sometimes, even heroes needed a break from their extraordinary abilities. And thanks to Bakugo Izuku's ingenuity, they found a way to appreciate the ordinary moments, the shared laughter, and the bonds they had forged along their journey to becoming heroes. With the Quirk Quencher 3000 in their midst, Class 1A's training took on a new dimension of playful camaraderie, reminding them that being a hero wasn't just about power and strength, it was about unity, support, and finding joy in the most unexpected moments. As the days went by, Izuku's Quirk Quencher 3000 became a regular part of Class 1A's training sessions. Each time they used it, the class discovered new and hilarious ways to test its effects. One day, during a combat training exercise, Kaminari, known for his electricity-based quirk, eagerly volunteered to be a subject for the Quirk Quencher with a mischievous smile, Izuku pointed the device at him, and instantly, Kaminari's electrical charges dissipated. The class watched in amusement as Kaminari's hair drooped and his usually electrified personality turned a bit more mellow. He stumbled around, his usual energy temporarily drained. Shiro couldn't help but laugh, saying, "Hey Kaminari, maybe now you can actually hold a conversation without zapping us all." Kaminari pouted but couldn't help but chuckle along with the class. "Sorry, I get it. But I can't wait to zap you all once my quirk comes back." Their laughter echoed through the training arena as they continued to find creative ways to test the Quirk Quencher 3000's effects. In another instance, Tokoyami volunteered, curious to see how his dark shadow quirk would be affected. Izuku aimed the device at him, and just like the others, his quirk was temporarily suppressed. The shadowy bird-like creature that usually enveloped him retreated, leaving Tokoyami standing there looking slightly disoriented. As the class gathered around him, Hagakure couldn't resist poking fun. "Hey Tokoyami, you're like a lost little bird without your dark shadow. Need some help finding your way?" Tokoyami scowled playfully, his deep voice slightly subdued. "Watch your words, Hagakure. My power will return soon, and then we'll see who's lost." The class erupted into laughter, appreciating the comedic moments that the Quirk Quencher 3000 brought to their training sessions. Even their teachers couldn't resist getting involved. Present Mike, known for his loud voice and sound-based quirk, eagerly stepped up to experience the effects of the device. Izuku activated the Quirk Quencher 3000, and instantly, the arena was filled with silence as Present Mike's voice was suppressed. The class watched in awe as Present Mike attempted to make his usual energetic announcements, but only a faint whisper escaped his lips. Aizawa and Vlad King exchanged amused glances, relishing the rare moment of tranquility. Vlad King couldn't resist making a quip. "Well, Present Mike, it seems the Quirk Quencher 3000 has finally silenced you. I hope you're enjoying the taste of your own medicine." Present Mike gave them a mock pout, his gestures exaggerated to compensate for his lack of volume. The class erupted into laughter, appreciating the irony of their normally boisterous teacher being reduced to a whisper. Throughout their training sessions, the Quirk Quencher 3000 brought not only comedic moments but also a sense of camaraderie among Class 1A. The device became a catalyst for laughter, friendly banter, and a deeper appreciation of each other's unique abilities. Izuku, basking in the joy she had brought to her classmates, couldn't help but feel a sense of fulfillment. She had not only created a useful tool but had also fostered a light-hearted atmosphere that reminded them all of the importance of laughter and support in their journey to become heroes. As the days passed, Izuku continued to tinker with her inventions, always eager to surprise her classmates with something new. And Class 1A, ever ready for adventure and a good laugh, eagerly embraced each of Izuku's creations, grateful for the unique experiences they brought to their training as future heroes. Everyone meet Bob the Line, laughing face. Okay, important question. It's very, very important for the story. It decides a lot of what will happen next, JK. So the ships. Yes, the ships, the thing most of you came for, but found nothing sparkles. I'll finally do it in the near future, but you have to choose between 3 choices. No ship. 2. Yuri ship. Hetero ship. The one who have higher vote counts will win. Later, we will choose what the ship is exactly, and like this we will vote. And if anyone noticed, I made Minata less of a pervert like it was in the anime, because I hated his behavior. Well, I hope you have a good day, morning, noon, night, wherever you are. Smiley face. Comment. 0 comment. Chapter 13, Chapter 12, Mindmapper. In the weeks that followed, Izuku disappeared into her workshop once again, engrossed in a new project that she claimed would be mind-blowing. The class eagerly awaited her return, their curiosity reaching new heights. Finally, the day arrived when Izuku emerged from her workshop, holding a small device in her hand. She looked at her classmates with a mischievous glimmer in her eyes. Presenting the Mindmapper, Izuku declared, her voice filled with excitement. The class leaned in, their anticipation growing. What could this new invention possibly do? Izuku activated the Mindmapper, and a holographic projection sprang to life before their eyes. It was a vivid and immersive virtual reality simulation, transporting anyone who entered its field of influence into a digital world of limitless possibilities. The class gasped in awe as they saw the vibrant landscapes, fantastical creatures, and intricate challenges that the Mindmapper could create. It was like stepping into a whole new realm, a world where their imaginations could run wild. Katsuki, usually skeptical of his sister's creations, couldn't help but be impressed. Izuku, this is actually pretty cool. Izuku beamed at her brother's praise. Thanks, Katsuki. I thought it would be a fun way for us to train and explore new scenarios together. The class couldn't contain their excitement as they took turns stepping into the virtual reality world created by the Mindmapper. They battled powerful villains, traversed treacherous terrains, and even enjoyed moments of relaxation in serene virtual landscapes. But as with any of Izuku's creations, there had to be a twist. Unbeknownst to the class, Izuku had programmed hidden surprises and comedic elements within the virtual reality simulations. As Kirishima attempted to defeat a formidable enemy, the villain suddenly transformed into a dancing, singing cartoon character, leaving Kirishima momentarily stunned before bursting into laughter. Uraraka, who had been exploring a serene meadow, suddenly found herself surrounded by a herd of mischievous virtual rabbits that started playfully stealing her belongings. She chased after them, a mix of frustration and amusement on her face. Meanwhile, Todoroki, who had been engrossed in a strategic battle, found himself in a virtual snowball fight against a group of penguins that threw snowballs with surprising accuracy. He couldn't help but join in the laughter as he returned fire. Izuku watched the antics of her classmates with pure delight, her laughter mingling with theirs. This was exactly the kind of joyful chaos she had envisioned. Izawa, who had been observing from the sidelines, couldn't help but raise an eyebrow at the commotion. Bakugo, I hope this invention of yours has some practical use as well. Izuku nodded enthusiastically. Of course, Aizawa-sensei. The Mindmapper can also be used for training and analyzing quirk techniques, as well as enhancing strategic thinking and teamwork. Aizawa grumbled something under his breath, but a small smile tugged at the corner of his lips. He couldn't deny the unique and valuable potential that Izuku's invention offered. And just as the excitement began to die down, Izuku approached Aizawa and whispered, "Don't worry, Mr. Aizawa, I didn't forget about you. There's a special surprise for you in there, a cat kingdom." Aizawa's eyes widened for a moment before he regained his composure. He looked at Izuku with a mix of amusement and curiosity. "A cat kingdom, you say?" Izuku nodded, still grinning mischievously. "Yes, a virtual realm filled with fluffy cats, endless catnip, and cozy napping spots. I thought it would be the perfect place for you to relax and unwind." Aizawa's stern facade cracked, and he couldn't help but chuckle. "Well, Izuku, I suppose I'll have to give it a try. But don't think this excuses any misbehavior, got it?" Izuku laughed and saluted. "Yes, sir. I promise the cat kingdom will be the perfect escape for you." As the class continued to immerse themselves in the mind-blowing world of the Mindmapper, laughter echoed through the training arena, and Izuku's inventive spirit brought a sense of joy and camaraderie to Class 1A like never before. As the days went by, the Mindmapper became a regular part of Class 1A's training routine. Izuku would create new simulations for her classmates to explore, each with its own unique challenges and surprises. One day, she unveiled a simulation set in a bustling cityscape, complete with towering skyscrapers, busy streets, and countless NPCs, non-player characters, going about their daily lives. The class eagerly stepped into the virtual world, ready to take on whatever Izuku had prepared for them. But little did they know that this time, Izuku had added a touch of comedic chaos to the mix. As soon as they entered the simulation, they found themselves transformed into peculiar characters. Kirishima had become a hulking muscle-bound hero with a voice like a radio announcer, while Uraraka had sprouted wings and a beak, resembling a bird-human hybrid. Todoroki, always composed and serious, found himself with a set of exaggerated facial expressions, his emotions displayed vividly for all to see. And Katsuki, much to his dismay, had been transformed into a tiny chibi version of himself, complete with oversized eyes and a high-pitched voice. The class burst into laughter at their ridiculous appearances, But there was no time to waste as the simulation presented them with their first challenge, a runaway parade float wreaking havoc in the city streets. As they attempted to stop the rampaging float, the comedic twists continued. Kirishima's booming voice startled the float's driver, causing him to swerve wildly and crash into a giant inflatable mascot, sending it soaring through the air. Urarika's newfound wings proved to be quite unruly, flapping at the most unexpected moments and causing her to fly off course. She tried her best to regain control, but her wobbly flight path made for an entertaining sight. Todoroki's exaggerated expressions added another layer of hilarity. Every time he used his quirk, his face contorted into expressions of surprise, determination, and even confusion. It was like watching a living emoji trying to save the day. And poor Katsuki, in his chibi form, struggled to be taken seriously. His explosive quirk had become miniature blasts, producing cute little sparks instead of the usual fiery explosions. It was a bizarre sight to behold, and the contrast between his fierce personality and adorable appearance only added to the amusement. Despite the comical challenges they faced, the class didn't let their appearances hinder their determination. They worked together, using their quirks and newfound abilities to overcome obstacles and bring the runaway parade float to a halt. As the simulation came to an end, the class stood together, breathless from laughter and exhilaration. They couldn't thank Izuku enough for creating such a unique and entertaining experience. Izuku, beaming with pride, approached Aizawa, who had been observing the chaos with a mixture of amusement and exasperation. "Mr. Aizawa, what did you think of our city adventure?" Aizawa chuckled and shook his head. "I must admit, Bakugo's chibi form was quite the sight to behold. But I can't deny that your creations bring a certain energy to the class. Try to keep the chaos under control, okay?" Izuku nodded enthusiastically. "Of course, Mr. Aizawa. Chaos with a purpose." And so, Izuku's inventive spirit continued to astonish and amuse Class 1A. With each new creation, she brought laughter, excitement, and a renewed sense of camaraderie to her classmates, reminding them that even in the world of heroes, there was always room for a little bit of fun. Zero comment. Chapter 14, Chapter 13, Chaos Capsule. As the weeks passed, Izuku continued to surprise her classmates with her inventive creations. One day, she revealed her latest masterpiece, the Chaos Capsule. The Chaos Capsule looked like an ordinary, small, round container with a cute cartoon smiley face on its surface. It seemed harmless and innocent at first glance, and the class was intrigued to see what it could do. Izuku explained with a mischievous glint in her eyes, "The Chaos Capsule might look cute, but don't let its appearance fool you. Once you activate it, it will unleash a wave of chaos that will turn everything upside down for a few minutes. It's perfect for training and testing your ability to adapt to unexpected situations." The class exchanged curious glances, unsure of what to expect. But they were always up for a challenge, and with Izuku's reassurance that the Chaos Capsule was safe, they agreed to give it a try. As they activated the Chaos Capsule, the world around them seemed to twist and warp. Gravity became unpredictable, causing the students to float in midair or be pulled in strange directions. The once stable ground beneath their feet turned into a trampoline-like surface, making movement tricky and disorienting. Kaminari, usually the source of electricity-based humor, found himself generating uncontrollable sparks that zapped anyone who came too close. He tried to apologize, but his words were replaced by bursts of static. Jiro's earphone jacks went haywire, and instead of emitting sound, they started to spew confetti and colorful streamers. She laughed at the absurdity of her situation, trying to communicate through improvised dance moves. Mineta's sticky ball, usually a strategic asset, turned into bouncy ball that bounced around the area, causing everyone to slip and slide. He found himself laughing as he struggled to catch his quirk. Even Bakugo, who was initially skeptical about the Chaos Capsule, couldn't help but get caught up in the chaos. His explosive quirk became unpredictable, with blasts going off in unexpected directions, creating a fiery light show. Aizawa, who had been observing the exercise, couldn't help but chuckle at the sight of his students trying to navigate through the chaos. He knew Izuku had a talent for creating unique challenges, but this one took the cake. Meanwhile, All Might, who had been passing by and noticed the unusual commotion, couldn't resist joining in on the fun. In his muscular form, he bounced around like a giant RBB ball, laughing heartily at the mayhem. Izuku, standing at a safe distance, watched with delight as her classmates embraced the absurdity. "It's all about learning to adapt and think on your feet," she called out, her eyes shining with excitement. As the chaos finally subsided, the class collapsed on the now stable ground, laughing and catching their breath. They had experienced a unique form of training, one that challenged their abilities and brought them even closer together. "That was insane," Kaminari exclaimed, still brushing off a few lingering sparks. "It's like we were in a cartoon," Jiro added, still giggling at her confetti-spewing earphone jacks. Bakugo, surprisingly, had a wide grin on his face. "Well, it wasn't as bad as I thought. Still, don't expect me to say it was fun or anything." Izuku beamed with pride, knowing her creation had once again brought joy to her friends. "I'm glad you all enjoyed it. The Chaos Capsule was a success." The class nodded in agreement, grateful for Izuku's inventive spirit and her ability to turn even the most challenging training sessions into unforgettable adventures. Little did they know, Izuku had already started brainstorming her next creation, ready to take their training to new heights of chaos and hilarity. The class couldn't wait to see what she would come up with next, eagerly anticipating the next surprise that would turn their world upside down in the best possible way. "Thank you all," loudly crying face. "I wanted to thank you all for reading my CRP face with tears of joy. And wanted to remind you to vote for the kind of ship. Remember, it's no ship, Euroship, heteroship. You should vote for one. Comment. Zero comment. Chapter 15. Chapter 14. Survive. As the two classes gathered on the training ground, a sense of anticipation filled the air. Aizawa, Vlad King, and All Might stood before them, wearing knowing smiles. It was evident that something unique and challenging awaited them today. Aizawa cleared his throat and addressed the perplexed students. "This time, you won't be going against each other or being trained by us. Today, your task is simple yet daunting. You must survive." From her. Confusion swept through the crowd as they exchanged puzzled glances. Survive from whom? Who could possibly pose such a threat? Aizawa's smirk grew wider as he pointed towards a familiar figure with an innocent smile, Izuku. The moment their gazes met Izuku's, a wave of fear washed over the students. They remembered the chaos she had unleashed in the past, and now, with Blasty in one hand and Quirky in the other, her arsenal had grown even more formidable. But it was another presence that sent shivers down their spines. Mr. Boommy, the boy doll, stood at Izuku's side, his smile transforming into a devilish grin. His presence alone seemed to ignite a primal fear within each of them. Katsuki's scream pierced the air as his eyes locked with Mr. Boomy's chilling smile. The doll waved slowly, savoring the terror it instilled in the explosive hero. The class couldn't help but feel a mix of amusement and dread at the unfolding scene. Just when they thought things couldn't get any more unsettling, Izuku revealed her newest creation. The Quirk Quencher. The device had the ability to nullify quirks within a certain radius, making it a formidable weapon in Izuku's hands. With the stage set and the tension mounting, the joint training took an unexpected turn. The students were pitted against a force that not only included Izuku's ingenuity but also the unpredictable Mr. Boommy. It was a battle for survival against the combined powers of mischief and chaos. As the skirmishes began, Mr. Boommy showcased his own brand of terror, leaving a trail of destruction in his wake. With his terrifying smile never wavering, he darted between opponents, his tiny frame deceivingly fast and agile. The students soon realized that facing Mr. Boommy was like trying to catch smoke. He slipped through their defenses effortlessly, leaving them bewildered and frustrated. The sight of Mr. Boomy's mischievous tactics prompted a mix of laughter and horror. His smile seemed to widen with every defeat he inflicted upon the students, as if he relished in their struggles. Yet, there was an undeniable charm in his antics, a bizarre allure that made the battles both terrifying and oddly entertaining. One by one, the students engaged in combat with Izuku and Mr. Boommy, desperately trying to outwit and overcome the formidable duo. Quirks clashed, explosions erupted, and the training ground became a whirlwind of chaos. But amidst the chaos, a camaraderie began to form. As the students faced this unusual challenge together, bonds strengthened and trust grew. They relied on their instincts, adapted their strategies, and learned to find humor in the absurdity of the situation. Throughout it all, Izuku's smile never wavered. She reveled in the thrill of the battle, the joy of seeing her friends pushed to their limits. It was her way of teaching them to embrace unpredictability, to find strength in adversity. The joint training session became a remarkable spectacle, a clash of powers and personalities that left everyone breathless. Eventually, as the dust settled and the battles concluded, the students stood side by side, exhausted yet exhilarated. Izawa, Vlad King, and All Might observed the aftermath, their expressions a mix of pride and amusement. They had pushed the students to their limits, challenged their perceptions of what it meant to be a hero, and watched them rise to the occasion. Izuku, Blasty, and Mr. Boommy stood at the center of it all, their presence forever etched in the memories of Class 1A and Class 1B. As the sun began to set, the joint training came to an end, leaving behind a legacy of chaos, laughter, and growth. And as the students dispersed, their bodies bruised but their spirits soaring, they knew that this day would forever be etched in their hearts as a testament to the unpredictable, hilarious, and unforgettable nature of their journey as aspiring heroes. Zero comment. Chapter 16, Chapter 15, Mr. Boommy Chase. As the joint training session concluded, the students gathered for a moment of respite. Breathing heavily and nursing their wounds, they couldn't help but exchange stories and recount the absurdity they had just experienced. "I never thought I'd be running for my life from a doll," muttered Kirishima, his voice tinged with both fear and amusement. "Did you see the way Mr. Boommy smiled? It was like he was enjoying every moment of it," Uraraka added, shaking her head in disbelief. Todoroki, trying to maintain his composed demeanor, couldn't help but crack a small smile. "I never expected such a formidable opponent to come in the form of a doll. Izuku truly knows how to make things interesting." Meanwhile, Bakubot, who had managed to escape Mr. Boommy's clutches, approached Izuku with a mixture of awe and annoyance. "What the hell, Izuku? You could have warned us about that demon doll. It nearly gave me a heart attack." Izuku giggled, a mischievous glint in her eyes. "But where's the fun in warning you, Katsuki? The element of surprise is crucial in battles." "Surprise? More like a heart-stopping terror," Bakubot grumbled, rubbing his temples. As Bakubot's exclamation echoed through the training ground, the students froze in disbelief. All eyes turned to Mr. Boommy, the doll with the devilish smile, as he began to speak with an unexpected British accent. Well, if it isn't my favorite uncle." Mr. Boomy's voice was laced with mischief and a touch of sinister charm. His giggles sent shivers down their spines. Did the doll just talk?" Uraraka whispered, her eyes wide with astonishment. "I never signed up for this horror movie nonsense," Mineta whimpered, his voice trembling. Mr. Boomy's grin widened as he heard Bakubot's outburst. He turned his attention to the explosive hero in training and took a few slow, deliberate steps toward him. Each step seemed to amplify the fear in Bakubot's eyes. "Go away, you demon!" Bakubot shouted, his voice a mix of fear and frustration. But Mr. Boommy paid no mind to Bakubot's insults. Instead, he chuckled darkly and continued his relentless pursuit of the students. The sound of his eerie laughter filled the air, instilling a sense of terror in the hearts of Class 1A and Class 1B. "Is this some kind of twisted nightmare?" Jiro muttered, her voice barely audible over the cacophony of chaos. Todoroki, who usually maintained his calm composure, felt a bead of sweat trickle down his forehead. "I never thought I'd see the day when a doll haunted my dreams. This is beyond surreal." Even Izawa, known for his stoic demeanor, couldn't help but raise an eyebrow in surprise. "Izuku, your creations never cease to amaze and frighten." As the joint training session transformed into a frantic chase, Mr. Boomy's sinister laughter echoed through the training ground. The students scattered in every direction, their hearts pounding in their chests as they tried to escape the doll's relentless pursuit. "Bloody hell," This is mad. Kirishima exclaimed between gasps for breath, his voice filled with a mixture of fear and excitement. Someone tell me this nightmare will end. Mina pleaded, her eyes darting around for any sign of salvation. In the midst of the chaos, Izuku and Mike stood on the sidelines, unable to contain their laughter. Tears streamed down their faces as they watched the students scramble in panic. Power Loader, who had joined the scene, couldn't help but cheer Mr. Boommy on. Give him a jolly good chase, Mr. Boommy. Show him what you're made of. Aizawa, struggling to maintain order, could only shake his head in disbelief. This wasn't exactly what I had in mind for joint training. But I suppose it's an exercise in adaptability and quick thinking. As the students and teachers ran in a chaotic frenzy, their shrieks and cries filled the air. The once controlled training ground had transformed into a battlefield of laughter and terror, with Mr. Boommy at the center of it all. Little did they know, Izuku was relishing in the chaos, enjoying the sight of her creation wreaking havoc. Her laughter blended with Mr. Boomy's as they watched the students push their limits and face their fears head-on. In the end, the joint training session may not have followed the traditional hero curriculum, but it left an indelible mark on the memories of Class 1A and Class 1B. It became a legendary tale passed down through the years, spoken of with equal parts amusement and trepidation. And as Mr. Boommy continued his relentless pursuit, giggling like a demon, the students could only hope for a moment of respite. But deep down, they knew that the chaos and laughter would forever be ingrained in their journey to becoming heroes. Zero comment. Chapter 17. Chapter 16. Mr. Boommy Chase 2. As the chaotic training session continued, Mr. Boomy's devilish giggles seemed to grow louder and more menacing. The doll showed no signs of slowing down, and the students found themselves pushed to their limits as they tried to outmaneuver him. "A minute, how does this thing keep catching up to us?" Kaminari exclaimed, running alongside Kirishima and Shiro. "It's like he's always one step ahead." Shiro breathed, trying to keep his bandages from unraveling as he sprinted. "I think he can predict our moves somehow." Kirishima added, his usually tough exterior now etched with anxiety. Meanwhile, Mr. Boommy kept up his eerie pursuit with relentless determination. His tiny legs moved surprisingly fast, and his creepy smile never faltered. At one point, Shinso attempted to use his brainwashing quirk on Mr. Boommy to stop the chase. "You will stop moving and fall asleep," he commanded, locking eyes with the doll. To everyone's surprise, Mr. Boomy's eyes glowed momentarily, but then he just tilted his head and grinned wider. "Sorry, mate, but that won't work on me. I'm having way too much fun," he retorted, his voice sounding even more sinister with Shinso's quirk echoing through it. Shinso stumbled back in shock. "He resisted my quirk. What is that thing?" Elsewhere on the battlefield, Class 1B wasn't having much better luck. Tetsu and Monoma tried to distract Mr. Boommy with a coordinated attack, but their efforts were in vain. "I can't believe we're getting beaten by a doll." Monoma groaned, his face flushed with embarrassment. "I admit, it's not the most heroic defeat," Tetsu conceded, rubbing the back of his head. As the joint training continued, the teachers looked on with mixed emotions. All Might couldn't help but laugh heartily at the spectacle, finding the whole situation rather amusing. Vlad King, ever the stoic figure, simply crossed his arms and shook his head. "Well, this is certainly something I never thought I'd see in my teaching career." Aizawa couldn't resist a small smile, though he tried to maintain his stern demeanor. "Izuku has truly outdone herself this time." Meanwhile, Izuku stood at the sidelines, watching the mayhem she had unleashed. She couldn't help but feel a sense of pride at the havoc Mr. Boommy was causing. Mike, standing beside her, grinned from ear to ear. "You're a real artist, Izuku. This is performance art at its finest." Izuku blushed at the praise but maintained a mischievous glint in her eye. "I'm just glad everyone's having fun." In the midst of the chaos, Bakugo and Todoroki found themselves cornered by Mr. Boommy. The dolls' giggles sent chills down their spines as they glanced at each other with determination. "Okay, we can take him down together, right?" Todoroki suggested, already forming a plan in his mind. Bakugo scoffed but nodded. Fine, but just this once. I'm not admitting defeat to a demon doll. With a synchronized attack, Bakugo unleashed his explosive fury while Todoroki followed with a powerful ice attack. The combination of their quirks was formidable, but Mr. Boommy simply evaded their assault with nimble movements. Nice try, boys, but you'll have to do better than that. Mr. Boommy taunted, his grin unwavering. As the day progressed, the joint training became a testament to the resilience and creativity of the students. They worked together, adapting their strategies, and even finding moments of laughter amidst the chaos. Eventually, the training came to an end, and Aizawa blew the whistle to signal the conclusion. The students, exhausted but exhilarated, gathered in groups, sharing stories and reflecting on the unique experience. Aizawa approached Izuku with a mixture of amusement and weariness. Izuku, I hope you've learned your lesson about the dangers of your inventions. Izuku grinned sheepishly. I can't promise I won't create something equally chaotic in the future, but I'll try to keep it under control, sensei. Aizawa sighed but couldn't hide a hint of a smile. Just remember, there's a fine line between genius and madness. Make sure you don't cross it. With that, the joint training concluded, leaving the students with memories they would never forget. And while Mr. Boommy would forever be etched in their minds as a creepy and formidable opponent, he also became a symbol of the unpredictable nature of heroism and the unyielding spirit of Class 1A and 1B. Zero comment. Chapter 18, Chapter 17, The Aizawa Special Coffee Machine. With a burst of energy and a mischievous grin, Izuku Bakugo burst into Class 1A once again. This time, she held in her hands a peculiar contraption that resembled a mix between a coffee machine and a scientific experiment gone wrong. I present to you all, my latest invention, Izuku announced proudly. The Aizawa Special Coffee Machine. The class turned their attention to Izuku, their curiosity piqued. Aizawa himself raised an eyebrow, clearly intrigued but maintaining his usual stoic demeanor. Izuku continued, her words flowing with excitement. This amazing machine can produce any kind of coffee you longing, Aizawa-sensei. From espresso to cappuccino, and even custom blends tailored to your tastes. It can even shape the foam into the shape of your choice. Aizawa blinked, his eyes narrowing as he processed the information. You made a coffee machine. Specifically for me? Izuku nodded enthusiastically. That's right, sensei. I noticed how much you love your coffee, so I wanted to create something that would make your mornings even better. Aizawa's lips twitched, and for a brief moment, a hint of a smile crossed his face. Well, I can't deny that it's an interesting idea. With a swift motion, Izuku placed the Aizawa Special Coffee Machine on his desk and quickly set it up. She adjusted the settings with a flourish, showcasing her attention to detail. Moments later, the machine whirred to life, and the aroma of freshly brewed coffee filled the air. The class watched with anticipation, their eyes fixated on Aizawa's reaction. As Aizawa took a tentative sip, his eyes widened in surprise. The flavor danced on his tongue, the perfect blend of bitterness and richness. He couldn't help but be impressed. Izuku, this is remarkable, Aizawa admitted, his voice tinged with genuine appreciation. You've managed to create a coffee machine that caters to my every whim. I never thought I'd see the day. Izuku beamed, her eyes shining with satisfaction. I'm glad you like it, sensei. It's just a small token of my gratitude for everything you do for us. The class erupted in applause, their admiration for Izuku's thoughtfulness evident. Even the usually reserved Aizawa couldn't help but feel a warmth in his heart as he sipped his personalized coffee. From that day forward, the Aizawa Special Coffee Machine became a beloved addition to Class 1A. It brought moments of joy and relaxation, serving as a reminder of the bond between teacher and students. As the laughter and conversation filled the classroom, Izuku's heart swelled with happiness. She had managed to bring a smile to Aizawa's face, and that was a victory in itself. During her training and the pursuit of their dreams, the Bakugo twins continued to leave their mark, not only with explosive battles but also with their unique inventions and acts of kindness. With each creation, they brought joy, laughter, and a touch of chaos to the lives of those around them, forging unforgettable memories along the way. Guys, I'm starting to get out of ideas. Can anyone please suggest something, TT? Also for now the votes are no ship, 0. By Monday if there are no other votes, I'll close it. So you should vote now if you want, and Demon looks like Yuri is about to win. Prepare your ships, people. Comment. Chapter 19. Chapter 19. A visit from Mr. Boommy. A few days later, as the students of Class 1A settled into their routine, an unexpected visitor made their way through the classroom door. It was none other than Mr. Boommy, carrying a tray of tea and cookies. The class collectively gasped, unsure of what to make of this eerie doll's presence. Why is he here? Uraraka whispered, her voice filled with a mixture of curiosity and unease. Mr. Boommy took a seat at one of the desks, placing the tray in front of him. He poured himself a cup of tea and took a leisurely sip, all the while maintaining his unsettling smile. The class watched him, their curiosity growing with each passing second. Finally, Mindmapper couldn't contain his curiosity any longer. Excuse me, Mr. Boommy, but why are you here? The doll's smile widened, and he peered at the class through his beady eyes. You see, my dear friends, Mama doesn't like it when there's fighting or arguments among the people she knows. So, to make Mama happy I came in peace, he explained, his voice carrying a hint of menace. He took another sip of tea, his gaze fixed on the students. So, we are on good terms now, right? He asked, his tone implying that the consequences of saying otherwise would not be pleasant. Silence engulfed the classroom as the students exchanged nervous glances. Mr. Boomy's presence and his foreboding words had an undeniable effect on them. Just when the tension became almost unbearable, Mr. Boommy abruptly stood up and approached Katsuki, holding out a cookie. Here, Uncle Katsuki, eat it. It's delicious, he declared with an unsettling enthusiasm. Katsuki recoiled, his eyes wide with a mix of fear and confusion. Why was this demonic doll singling him out? Reluctantly, he took the cookie, not daring to defy Mr. Boomy's command. Amid this bizarre interaction, the classroom door swung open, revealing Izuku's arrival. She had been searching for Mr. Boommy and was relieved to find him seemingly unharmed. "Boommy, you scared me," she exclaimed, her voice laced with relief. "Why did you suddenly disappear?" Mr. Boommy turned to face Izuku, his expression instantly shifting to one of innocence. "Look, Mama, I made these cookies and wanted to share them with Uncle." "Isn't that right, dear Uncle?" he said, his tone almost mocking. Katsuki, feeling trapped, nodded reluctantly, not wanting to upset Izuku further. The doll's threatening smile didn't escape his attention, but he knew better than to challenge Mr. Boomy's authority in front of Izuku. Unaware of the doll's true nature, Izuku beamed at him. "That's so sweet of you, Boommy. I'm glad you two are getting along." As the class continued to observe the peculiar interaction, they couldn't help but feel a chill crawl up their spines. Mr. Boommy had a way of playing innocent in front of Izuku, but behind her back, he was a literal demon. Little did the students know, this was just the beginning of Mr. Boomy's mischief, and they would soon find themselves embroiled in more chaotic encounters with the doll and Izuku's ingenious creations. Random question: do you love FNAF? And if yes, who's your favorite? Smiley face. Comment. 0 comment. Chapter 20. The Wormy Slumber. One day, as Izuku observed their class's homeroom teacher, Aizawa, cozily nestled within his infamous yellow sleeping bag, an idea sparked in her inventive mind. She couldn't help but notice how Aizawa wiggled and twisted inside the bag, almost resembling a worm wriggling through the earth. Determined to bring a touch of comfort and whimsy to their tired teacher, Izuku set off on a mission to create a very special sleeping bag just for him. After days of meticulous planning and late-night tinkering, Izuku proudly presented her creation to the class. With a mischievous grin, she unveiled the Wormy Slumber Cocoon, a sleeping bag designed specifically to cater to Aizawa's unique sleeping habits. The Wormy Slumber Cocoon was no ordinary sleeping bag. It had a stretchable, worm-like design with multiple compartments and adjustable straps that allowed Aizawa to contort and twist comfortably within it, just like his usual sleeping routine. The bag was lined with plush, memory foam padding to provide optimal support and warmth during his well-deserved rest. Izuku's classmates couldn't help but burst into laughter and awe at the sight of the wormy slumber cocoon. They imagined Aizawa's surprised expression as he discovered his new sleeping companion. "Wow, Izuku, you've really outdone yourself this time," Tsuyu Azui exclaimed, trying to stifle her giggles. "I can't wait to see Aizawa-sensei's reaction." The class eagerly anticipated the moment when Aizawa would encounter the wormy slumber cocoon. They imagined him climbing inside, his usually stern expression turning into a mix of confusion and amusement. The day finally arrived when Aizawa returned to the classroom, his eyes droopy with fatigue. Izuku, unable to contain her excitement, approached him with the wormy slumber cocoon in hand. "Sensei, I made something special just for you," she declared, her eyes sparkling with mischief. Aizawa glanced at Izuku with a raised eyebrow, unsure of what to expect. But when he saw the unique sleeping bag she held out to him, his tired eyes widened with surprise. "What is this?" he asked, his curiosity piqued. "It's the wormy slumber cocoon, designed specifically for your sleeping style," Izuku explained, her voice filled with enthusiasm. "It's stretchable, comfortable, and perfect for all your worm-like movements." Aizawa couldn't help but chuckle, his stern demeanor melting away. He exchanged a knowing glance with Izuku, appreciating her thoughtfulness and playful nature. "I must say, Izuku, you never fail to surprise me," Aizawa admitted, a hint of amusement in his voice. "I'll give it a try." With a mix of anticipation and amusement, the class watched as Aizawa slipped inside the wormy slumber cocoon. They couldn't help but burst into laughter as he twisted and contorted himself within the stretchable confines, making worm-like movements that left everyone in stitches. But amidst the laughter, a sense of warmth filled the room. It was a reminder of the unique bond between teacher and students, where even the most serious moments could be punctuated with lightheartedness and joy. From that day forward, the wormy slumber cocoon became a staple in Class 1A, a symbol of their shared experiences and the playful nature that brought them together. And as Aizawa found comfort in his peculiar sleeping bag, he couldn't help but appreciate the inventiveness and care that Izuku had put into creating something so uniquely tailored to him. Izuku beamed with pride, knowing that her creation had brought a touch of whimsy and laughter into Aizawa's life. It was a small reminder that even in the world of heroes, where challenges and responsibilities loomed large, there was always room for a little fun and creativity. As days passed, the wormy slumber cocoon became a sensation in UA High School. Word spread like wildfire, and soon other teachers and students caught wind of Izuku's ingenious creation. The sight of Aizawa wiggling inside his special sleeping bag had become a source of entertainment and laughter for the entire school. One afternoon, during a break between classes, Izuku found herself surrounded by a curious crowd. Students from different courses and teachers from various departments had gathered to catch a glimpse of the famous wormy slumber cocoon. Present Mike, known for his energetic personality, couldn't contain his excitement. "Yo, Izuku! This thing is incredible! Can you make one for me too? I want a Present Mike-themed sleeping bag." Izuku giggled, taking note of Present Mike's request. "Sure thing, Present Mike. I'll add it to my list of creations." Aizawa, who had been observing the commotion from a distance, approached Izuku with a smirk on his face. "You've really sparked everyone's interest, Izuku. Even I didn't expect this level of popularity for my sleeping habits." Izuku blushed, feeling a mix of pride and embarrassment. "I'm glad everyone is enjoying it. It's amazing how something as simple as a sleeping bag can bring people together." Zero comment. Chapter 21. Ned's a Gift. Word of Izuku Bakugo's inventive genius had spread throughout UA High School, captivating the attention of both students and teachers alike. Her remarkable creations and unwavering dedication had earned her a reputation as someone who could turn the ordinary into the extraordinary. One day, as Izuku pondered her next project, her thoughts drifted to Nedu, the brilliant and enigmatic principal of UA High. Rumors circulated among the students about Nedu's secret world domination plan, though no one knew for certain if it was true. However, Izuku's inquisitive mind couldn't resist the challenge of creating something that could cater to Nedu's grand ambitions. Determined to surprise the principal, Izuku set to work in her workshop, surrounded by tools, gadgets, and a plethora of materials. Her brow furrowed in concentration as she meticulously crafted a device that blended innovation, mischief, and just a touch of chaos. Days turned into nights as Izuku tirelessly worked on her creation, fueled by her excitement and longing to impress. She poured her heart and soul into every detail, knowing that this gift had the potential to make a lasting impact. Finally, the day arrived when Izuku stood before Nedu, her heart pounding with anticipation. With a mischievous smile, she presented him with her creation, a small, innocuous-looking box. Nezu's curiosity was piqued as he accepted the gift, unaware of what lay inside. As he opened the box, a cascade of glitter exploded into the air, filling the room with shimmering particles. Nedu blinked in surprise, momentarily taken aback by the unexpected display. But before he could react, the glitter began to transform into a holographic projection. Before him appeared a miniature city, a replica of the world Nedu sought to conquer. It was a marvel of engineering and artistry, meticulously detailed down to the tiniest building. Izuku had programmed the hologram to depict various scenarios, showcasing how Nezu's grand plan might unfold. As Nedu watched in awe, Izuku explained the intricacies of her creation. She had designed the hologram to simulate different outcomes, allowing Nedu to strategize and refine his plans in a virtual environment. It was a tool that could help him test scenarios, predict potential challenges, and ultimately fine-tune his world domination strategy. Nedu was astounded. Never before had someone understood his ambitions to such an extent, let alone created something that could aid him in his endeavors. He saw in Izuku a kindred spirit, someone who shared his unyielding thirst for knowledge and innovation. The other teachers, too, marveled at Izuku's creation. Some were wary of its potential implications, while others admired her ingenuity. Power Loader, in particular, couldn't help but burst into laughter, appreciating the audacity and brilliance of Izuku's gift. From that day forward, Izuku's reputation as an inventive prodigy soared to new heights. She became known not only for her exceptional creations but also for her uncanny ability to understand and cater to the desires of those around her. As the chapter came to a close, Izuku Bakugo continued to surprise and inspire, leaving a trail of awe and wonder in her wake. She had unwittingly become a beacon of creativity and ingenuity, forever changing the way her peers and teachers perceived her. And with each new project, she left an indelible mark on the world around her, proving that sometimes the greatest gifts were the ones that defied expectations. Nedu, the intellectual and cunning principal of UA High School, found himself captivated by Izuku Bakugo's inventive prowess. Her gift had not only impressed him but had also revealed a deeper understanding of his aspirations. Nedu couldn't help but feel a sense of admiration and intrigue toward this young prodigy. Intrigued by the holographic city and its potential, Nedu approached Izuku with a mix of curiosity and caution. He engaged her in lengthy conversations, delving into the mechanics and intricacies of her creation. Izuku, always eager to share her knowledge, explained the nuances and possibilities of the hologram, igniting a spark of excitement within Nedu. As the days passed, Izuku and Nedu formed an unlikely alliance. They would spend hours brainstorming and strategizing, exploring the holographic city in its infinite simulations. Nedu marveled at Izuku's ability to anticipate his every move and challenge his assumptions, finding in her a remarkable intellectual companion. Their collaborations extended beyond the hologram. Nedu recognized Izuku's potential as a prodigious mind and began mentoring her, providing guidance and exposing her to new areas of study. They would engage in spirited debates, diving into philosophical discussions about the nature of power, leadership, and the balance between heroism and villainy. Through their interactions, Nedu discovered a refreshing perspective from Izuku, a belief that true power could be harnessed for the greater good. It was a notion that challenged Nezu's own cynical worldview, offering a glimmer of hope in the midst of his ambitious plans. He couldn't help but wonder if there was a different path to achieve his goals, one that aligned with Izuku's unwavering optimism. As the months went by, Nezu's relationship with Izuku continued to evolve. They developed a deep mutual respect, each recognizing the brilliance and potential within the other. Nedu would occasionally seek Izuku's counsel on strategic matters, valuing her insights and unorthodox approaches. The teachers and staff of UA High School watched in awe as Nedu and Izuku collaborated, their discussions and projects becoming the stuff of legends. Some were amused by the unlikely duo, unable to comprehend how a young student could capture the attention and respect of the formidable principal. Power Loader, in particular, relished in the camaraderie between Nedu and Izuku. His proud grin was a constant presence, often eliciting bemused looks from his fellow teachers. He reveled in the fact that Izuku had not only impressed Nedu but had also ignited a sense of curiosity and wonder in him that hadn't been seen in years. Nedu's interactions with Izuku had a profound impact on the course of UA High School. The once solemn principal found himself embracing a newfound sense of hope and possibility. Through his mentorship of Izuku, he began to question his own motives and consider alternative paths to achieve his ambitions. As the chapter drew to a close, Nedu and Izuku's unique bond stood as a testament to the power of unconventional alliances and the transformative nature of intellectual connection. Their partnership would continue to